I'm on my way to Fresco y Mas. They got some pork on sale. I think they also might have some meat marked down because it's Saturday. So I'm gonna go down there and see what I can get. I figured I'd take you along for the ride. Kind of a nice day. It was 58 degrees when I got up this morning. That's rare for here. It's usually hot, humid, and disgusting, but I got my windows open and I'm out here. I see some people are working. Everybody else I've seen has been kind of bundled up, but not me. I'm wearing my usual clothes. Got my shirt, pants, and everything. I don't know how much you can hear with all the wind, but we'll give it a shot. Anyway, I just wanted to reflect a little bit on 2024. The year's going to be over soon, so it'll be kind of interesting to get some of the highlights and lowlights. As you know, the biggest lowlight was my truck breaking down and being unusable. So that kind of motivated me to speed up the work I was doing on the van. And I got the van where I can drive it, although the transmission, it has its moments. Also, since I was using the truck and running it on used cooking oil, I got used to having free and available fuel. Having to pay for fuel just didn't do so well with me. But anyway, I use the van for work, and for my own trips now, I'm using the bicycle. I've never been one of those people that likes to exercise. I always believe that on the heart attack diet, you should do as little as possible. But that's not in my nature. I'm one of those people that I get bored easily. If I'm not moving, I don't feel good. So I got to start moving. And that's what I did. That's what I'm doing now. It's become a routine riding the bike. Actually works out well for me. There we go. I don't see any iguanas. There's one right there. Yeah, medium-sized iguana. Anyway, so getting back to 2024, at this point, I've made some changes. I don't drive my truck, but that may change. Last week, a friend of mine, when he was visiting his family upstate, located an old broken down truck, just like mine, with a decent looking engine. And his son, who lives there, has a friend who has one of those engines that was taken out of a truck that was supposed to be running. And he seems to want a reasonable price, something that I can afford. So I may, and this is May, I'm not going to get my hopes up, but I may be getting another engine for my truck in the next few weeks. That would be awesome. I'll try to make a video of it if it comes to that point. If the engine is good, I'll go ahead. It should have a starter on it. I'll crank it up, check the compression. Compression tests out okay. I'll get my compressor and a gauge and check for leak down. I'll do the basic engine checks. Everything tests out good. I'm going to take off the oil pan. I'm going to take off the valve covers, do a complete engine cleaning. I may even check the oil passages. I'll go ahead and check the crankshaft for a lot of end play, the rods and everything. And if everything looks good, and it's within reason, I'm going to go ahead and repaint the engine, put a new oil pan and valve cover gaskets, do whatever little repairs are necessary, maybe exhaust manifold bolts, whatever. I'm going to make the engine functional and look pretty good. Then I'll take that engine, I'll take my old one out of the truck, I'll probably remove it along with the transmission and then assemble them and then return the engine and transmission together to my truck. That might be a better way to go. I could just swap the engine with the transmission in the truck, but I would like to do both together so that way I can torque all the bolts properly and make sure everything is good. if everything works out well, I may have a truck that would perform better than the first time I got it. And that would be fantastic. But again, this is all up in the air, but it's a possibility. Another interesting thing that happened to me this year, a couple months ago, my neighbor found this little kitten, as you see, out on one of these roads running around, and basically decided that, well, we're going to give it to him. They gave it to me. And I accepted the little monster. I've had to give him some of my food. He doesn't eat that much, but he's definitely brought something different to my life. He probably will interfere with my ability to travel around, but I'm sure I can get somebody to keep an eye on him for me. But really, when it comes down to it, this wonderful little animal showed me that there's some things that I remember from before that I still like. So here I am, riding a bike like I did when I was a kid. I got a black cat just like when I was a kid. I'm living in the same house that I grew up in. It's really kind of a unique experience. Now, as you know, and I've mentioned it many times, I want to move out of here. This area, believe it or not, this road here, when I was a kid, it was a dirt road. This was just like a rural area with horses, hay. This field over here was a hay field. Then they built those townhouses over there. In the 80s, they built this shopping center. And there's just been a lot of changes over the years. But you can see there's a lot of traffic. It's not like it used to be. So my goal is pretty simple. I got to figure out where I'm going to move to. That's step number one. And then, once I know where I'm going, I got to figure out how I get there. So what I'm trying to do is go through all the stuff that I have and hopefully be able to find some way of organizing it or putting it somewhere else. And then that way, when it comes time to move, it'll be a lot simpler. Now you have to realize, I live by myself. I don't have any family. I don't have anyone to help me. I do have friends that could help, but most of them are busy. Most of my really good friends have moved out of the area, and one of my really good friends, he's looking to move next year. The only thing that's keeping him here, he hasn't been able to find another place yet, but when he does, he will be out of here, which will leave me with only a couple of longtime friends left in this area, and I have to admit, it's going to be interesting. Now, if all goes well, in the next couple of years, I'll be the one moving out of here. But in order for me to do that, I have to have my truck where it is reliable and the van fixed, so I don't have to worry about getting stuck. Now, the van does run really well, but the transmission is not so good. So that is something I have to deal with. But really, when it comes down to it, it's all within my reach. And I think that if everything goes well, I'm going to be able to make happen what I want to happen. Now, the only reason that I haven't, well, one of the reasons I haven't moved is because I don't know where to go. It's very important to me to find an area where I have friends. And if I go to one of the areas that one of my friends moved to, that's going to give me access to a network of people. But on the other hand, if I go somewhere else, it may not be as easy. And I have a theory that you have to have connections with other people or you will not succeed. Unless you're dumped on a deserted island and have no choice. The only way that you can succeed in a world full of people is to have other people that are on your side. That makes it a lot easier because you can only be in one place at one time. You're not God. You're not omnipresent or omnipotent where you can do anything. But if you have friends that think like you do, or at the least can be compatible, in other words, they may not think like you, but they're not working against you. That would be very, very good. Now you look around a place like Miami, you see a lot of homeless people. And one of the things that I've told people for years, in order for a person to become homeless, they had to really put off a lot of people. Because if you think about it, their friends, family, or somebody else would be willing to help them. But they're not, because they've done things that have burned their bridges and made themselves undesirable. And with that being the case, it's probably a good idea that you avoid them. And I know everyone that has tried to help their friends that are homeless always ends up being disappointed because you end up with drugs and other things coming into the picture. And when someone is a drug addict, there's absolutely no way that that person is ever going to be usable for pretty much anything until they kick that addiction. The addiction is what put them there, or at least part of it. So, in my opinion, one of the most important things is to be able to understand what you're dealing with, what you want to do, and then be able to find the path to get there. Now, another great thing is if you know people who have done what you want to do, or people that are in the place that you want to be in, and you can get advice from them. It's like my friends. Whenever they have a problem, I'm one of the people they usually ask for advice. And I have some pretty good information, but I don't know everything. I know a little bit of a lot of things, but I don't know everything. So I think in many cases, this is why I have you YouTubers, the people who watch YouTube, the people who post videos, because some of you have knowledge that I don't have access to, and you might be able to help me find it. So that would be a really good thing. So I'm going to try to concentrate on more of those things as I make videos, and hopefully I'll get more and more of you involved to be able to give me a little guidance on what to do, where to go. And I know some people have ideas that are not compatible with mine, and that's fine. But it's kind of up to us to be able to select the ideas that are good for us and the ideas that are not so good. So anyway, I'm almost here to my goal, and hopefully they'll have the stuff on sale that I want. So everything's going well, and I hope I catch you later.